Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, Pakistan is an agro-based economy where agriculture contributes at least 19 to 21% to the gross domestic product, 60% to the Pakistan's exports, and at least provides employment to 40 to 45% of the population. Pakistan only contributes 0.8% or less than 1% into the carbon emissions. But unfortunately, Pakistan is facing worst impacts of climate change, especially on water, food, health and energy sector. Scientific projections show that due to climate change, like changing weather patterns, rising temperatures, particularly heavy rains and droughts, resultantly the flash floods, along with that the water scarcity, which is increasing day by day because of the climatic changes. So as the agriculture production, which is by projection by 2040, it is going to be cut at least 6% to 18%, which is a horrible sign. And it is only because of the climatic changes, the mismanagements and resultantly lots of adverse impacts of the worst temperatures. Ultimately, Pakistan's economy is going to pay the brunt, particularly the exports. There are fears that there would be unemployment within the agriculture sector as well. To tackle all these things, it is important to have policy interventions and such type of policies which must have to be implemented on ground. As the political parties are geared up for polls next month, so we are here going to analyze that whether political parties' manifestos cater all these important areas, particularly agriculture, water and the climate change. And also, when we are talking about these important areas, what are the progress overall made by Pakistan and the successive governments? To discuss all these important aspects, we have in our studios Ms. Samina Nazir. She is the Executive Director of an NGO, PODA, and also she is International Development Professional and working particularly on women empowerment. And we have also online joining us Dr. Shoaib Ahmed. He is an environmentalist. Dr. Shoaib Ahmed is with us. So most welcome to you, Dr. Shoaib, as well. Madam Samina, when we are talking about Pakistan's contributions into the climatic changes or whatever what we are calling it carbon emissions, there are lots of worst impacts on agriculture, food security, water and all areas. How do you see these impacts particularly and what sort of policy interventions needed at this juncture?
Thank you. Pakistan, as you mentioned earlier, does not contribute to the negative impact of climate change globally, but Pakistan suffers the worst damages, and we have seen in the recent flood of 2022 how 2/3 of Pakistan was impacted by the unusual monsoon rain. So Pakistan has taken up policy initiatives both nationally and internationally, and during the COP28 in Egypt, the government of Pakistan delegation led
in UAE, United Arab Emirates.
No, the 28 was held 27 sorry
27
was held in Egypt, and the government of Pakistan delegation led by Sharif Rahman very ably advocated the policy of loss and damage to those countries who are worse affected by climate, and also the countries who are major contributor to the climate crisis and damaging the ozone layer should be made to pay compensation to those countries like Pakistan and others in Asia and Africa. So in terms of policy initiatives, I think the government has taken very good steps, and we are also working to advocate for inclusion of women in the policy making.
So how do you see when we are talking about climatic changes and its worst impacts, whether Pakistan's political parties are sensitized about these important issues and they are including them in their manifestos, and how they are dealing with these things, about the promises particularly regarding upcoming elections?
Well, the manifestos have just started coming, and we have looked at some manifestos. On top is the Pakistan People's Party manifesto. They have a whole section on climate and agriculture, and they have advocated and they have presented very good points in terms of addressing the climate, in terms of climate resilience, starting new initiatives for women and youth, and land reforms, and very important steps that will help to improve the agriculture and climate in Pakistan. So other parties have also mentioned, I think the Jamaat-e-Islami has a section on agriculture policy, and I've also mentioned, and other manifestos are still coming. So actually it would be very interesting to see all the commitments that political parties are making in the manifestos.
Your point well taken. Dr. Shoaib, when we are talking about Pakistan's agriculture overall, Ministry of Water Resources has given some of the statistics that only 2% of the water used in households, whether 3% into the industry, when 95% of the usage of water is in agriculture. It's a huge amount. So why we are so water intensive in agriculture sector?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before answering your question on water, Faisal Sahab, just I wish to add one very important point. And actually, I wish to divert your attention toward this very important factor, that we do have a national vision plan in terms of, there's a document which is available on the internet, that is the updated nationally determined contributions, and that is of year 2021, because I haven't find its updated version in 22 and 23. And if you find that document, the whole document is with me. If you just look at this document, we have already pledged so many things, whosoever the government was, but see, at national level, we pledged many things, and we said, yes, this is what we are trying to do, or this is what our policy is, to upgrade our system up to an optimum level. So the question is, we do have policies, but where is the implementation strategy? Where is the implementation plan? And secondly, who is going to implement all those plans? When it comes to the implementation, Faisal, in your last program, if you remember, I've mentioned more than 20 institutions, those who are responsible for implementing this plan. So to me, I very humbly beg to differ on this point. We do have policies, we do have institutions, those who are responsible to implement. We have a full-fledged climate ministry. We have a ministry on water and resources.
Dr. Shoaib, I'm not talking about policy, because we have lots of policies, we have lots of legislations, implementation is required. I'm talking about that why agriculture sector is too much water intensive, because we have seen over the years that 70 to 80% of the water is there with the cash crops like sugarcane, like rice, like cotton and all that. So how do you see that area? Because too much water is there, we are not focusing much on drip irrigation or such type of sustainable use of water.
This is what the water story is to me, because I have spent my whole study with water. This water story is again very sad. Reason being, if you just look at the scenario, as you have mentioned in your preamble, and just right now, we have lost almost 168 million acre feet of water is available to Pakistan in the peak season. We usually get our data on the basis of the peak seasons. No? 168 million acre feet. 98 we have lost that 98 million acre feet water we lost during its travel from the mountains to the sea. So number one. Number two, the way we are keep on pulling out this underground water without having any strategy, without having any law on it or any legislation on it, the way we are keep on using our underground water, there are 2 3 very important things which I need to be I usually I take very much on it, but I take much, talk much on it, but unfortunately the things are not keep on coming. Number one, our farmer is not literate. We are not utilizing the strategies which are required to be a farmer of present time. You know, the type of strategies, the type of agriculture inventions, the type of agriculture improvements which are being used by the other countries of the world, these are not being utilized here. In this technological era, in this era of social networking sites, in this era of too much, the posts are coming from the world, we are not getting anything out of it. We are not educating our farmer. We are not educating our common man. This is again a very serious issue. The way we are, there are 2 taps in England. One is used for the hot water, one is used for the cold water. We have not learned any lesson at our ground level, at our domestic level, at our national level. So that's why we are keep on losing this very important resource, water. I usually say that water, and this is a proven fact, that water is life.
So,
It is
Dr.
the
Shoaib,
main
your point well
contributor.
taken. Let's move forward with your argument. As Dr. Shoaib said, that we haven't learnt any lessons on ground particularly. We have faced in 2022 a worse flood. 1/3 of the country was underwater. And most vulnerable sectors were the farmers, the women, the children and all others. So, how do you see why our farmer is not much literate when there is a technology gap when we are talking about artificial intelligence and climate smart farming and all that? It needs that our farmer must have to be well equipped, and woman has a primary role over there. How do you see that?
I think that the flood of 2022 has taught us very important lessons, and we have also seen how women are now in leadership position and they are helping their communities. But what needs to be done is to institutionalize the role of rural women leaders in climate change mitigation, in early warning system, in disaster mitigation. My organization PODA works with rural women in more than 150 districts of Pakistan. And what we have seen is that women have developed their own indigenous ways of resilience, and they have solved their problems very creatively, but we don't know about it because it is not shared. So, I actually organize a conference every year in Islamabad on 15th October, which is the International Day of Rural Women, and we bring together all the women from all parts of Pakistan to share these lessons learned, to share these solution strategies. So, when we had the mega flood of 2010, the digital technology was not so advanced. But now, as you have correctly said, in 2022, we have all the digital technology, but why is it not reaching the people? So, illiteracy is a major cause, but now everyone has a phone. Everyone may not have an Android phone, but everyone has some kind of communication tool, which is very important. So, we need to bring together digital platforms, women rights organization, farmers, agriculture organizations and government institutions. We all need to sit together and find ways how we can create agricultural digital literacy, so that we can share important messages. I will give you a small example. We have a organic agriculture farm. My organization PODA has an organic agriculture farm in Chakwal, about an hour drive from here. There we have installed a weather station, a small weather station that collects information 50 kilometers radius, and it's connected to an external information satellite, and every day we get information about the water, temperature, rain, and other information from the weather station, and we write it in a simple Urdu message, and we send it to all the women in our network, so they know if the rain is coming, not coming, what is the percentage of humidity. So this small technology can help farmers to protect their crops. Similarly,
from any sort of adverse climate or
Yeah.
weather patterns when they are changing and all that.
So it's called, it's sort of an early warning system, because if you remember a few years ago when we had very unusual rains before 2022, suddenly farmers had just harvested the wheat crop, they were in the middle of it, and the rain came in Sindh and southern Punjab, and all the crop was lost. And many women farmers said to us, if we knew the rain was coming tomorrow, we would have put the wheat inside. So is that simple, you know, the whole year harvest can
Definitely,
be
you're
lost.
absolutely right that they require prior information.
Yes.
They must have to be sensitized on that, and there must have to be a networking with the farmers so that they know that when the weather is going to be changed and they get the precautionary measures intact.
Yes.
So your point well taken. Dr. Shoaib, when we are talking about water usage, the statistics gives us a picture that virtual water export from Pakistan is higher than all other developing countries. Like 13 million acre foot water is exported through particularly the water induced exports like textile, through cotton and all others. So how do you see that aspect, because we need some sort of climate smart agriculture, best and efficient use of water and all others into the agriculture, so that we can not only use that water but also conserve it?
This is a very important concern. You know, as most of my part is have been taken by you, problem is we do not have any mechanism to recycle water for its usage. For example, what we did in our mosque in our area, we just had one reservoir, small. We put just a small reservoir there. We placed two motors on it, and we took that whole water and planted to our nearby garden. This is just a simple example. There are so many ways through which you can recycle or reuse that water which was already consumed. Now the problem is, as the ma'am said, this is a very good initiative, and fortunately right now I'm sitting in Chakwal, and I know that initiative is very good. But you know, these basic informations are already available on everybody's mobile phone. The question is, as you said in your question, the problem is we do not have any good mechanism to bring all those stakeholders in one network. This is one of these big challenge. You know, as you said, the political parties, yes, they do have a mechanism. They do set we have a manifesto on waters or climate change. But the problem is, do they have any implementation strategy how they can bring those farmers on board and give them all those and provide them all those facilities which are required to become smart agriculturist in the modern times? This is not available. You know, most of the talks, most of the thought process which is going on in political parties, that is revolving around pushing their opponents to the wall. But these are the real facts, and these are the real challenges which are to be taken abruptly. And you know, if they have a mechanism to bring their people. Now another very important point is, are the accessories which we are used in our washrooms. You know, now the whole world has changed. They have done such a marvelous work. Even a single drop of water. I was part of your program, and at that time I said we got a chance to visit this one of the country in Southeast Asia, and over there in their hotel room, I found a paper, and there was written on that, okay, please save water for us. You are our guest, you may leave, but please save water for us. Do not waste our water. This is a kind of strategy for which media is one of the key pillar. And through this initiative, we can give this message to our whole world. The way our in just take the example of our Islamabad, the way people are keep on wasting this water, their cars are being washed outside of the gate. And and if you ask them, okay, why you are wasting water, they said, we have our own motors and we picked that water from that motor, we are not using the CDS water. This groundwater is also your treasure, and why you are keep on losing this? For this we need,
Definitely, you are, Dr. Shoaib, you are very right. It's a precious commodity and we have to take care of it, because we have to conserve it for the future generations. When we are talking about, ma'am, the political parties, they are giving their manifestos. People's Party committed like climate smart agriculture, changing weather pattern, they are going to work on it. Along with that, they are going to have more crop yields. Emerging water crisis and food inflation, they are going to tackle it. People's Party promises that adaptation to climate change, along with subsidized seeds, fertilizers, green growth and jobs. How do you see these are the realistic ones or just the promises?
Well, I think that of all the parties' manifestos that I have studied and all their previous performance, I think that People's Party has done the most of homework. One of their leading politicians, Sharif Rahman, is a very well-known climate change activist nationally and globally. And I was amazed a few months back, about 3 months back, People's Party actually did a convention in Islamabad on climate change. And I was very surprised. I did not know that a party would do such a thing. So, and I know that earlier the previous government also had an active initiative on climate change. So it's actually very positive, very encouraging that our political parties are at least making the commitments, because if you look at the manifestos of last few previous elections, the climate change word did not exist in their manifestos.
Or if even exists, that was very minutely over there.
Yes, actually it did not exist. So it's a positive step, and we must encourage People's Party, and other parties have also mentioned, Jamaat-e-Islami and MQM, that I have seen. So it's a positive step, but we must also then monitor vigilantly to see if the parties will fulfill their commitments. And for us, civil society, and I think for media and for citizens, it's a very important commitment, so we can then work with the parties and say, now fulfill the commitment. So it's a good start, and like our other speaker said, the key is implementation.
Yeah, definitely.
Implementation mechanism and
also
also allocation of resources.
Yes.
So, you know, we can promise the moon, but if we don't allocate funds and don't make implementation mechanism, and in that I would like to emphasize inclusion of women. We see that our society is a patriarchal society. So in most places, the majority of offices and initiatives, even in government offices for women development, majority of the staff is men. Inclusion of women is very important, because women are actually practically solving the climate change problems in villages, in household, in terms of water conservation. You know, I learned all the climate education from my grandmother. She would never let us waste a drop of water. When I was growing up, there was no concept of litter. Everything was recycled. We never saw trash in our house or outside in the street, because there was a culture of environment preservation, that we were taught about conservation at home, in school, everywhere. That culture needs to be brought back.
Definitely, you are absolutely right. As we say that charity begins at home, so it is important that we should at least teach our children the great lessons of our ancestors, that how to protect environment, how to conserve water, and that must have to be from our home.
Yes.
So then we are going to succeed. Thank you very much, Samina Nazir Saiba. Thank you very much for your time being in studios. Thank you very much for that. As Samina said that Dr. Shoaib, we are talking about the political parties. We have gone through lots of manifestos. Some of the political parties are still under process to bring their manifesto at surface. So how do you see, because in lots of manifestos, the main area of the importance of water, and particularly the water crisis, which are just because of our neighbors, like particularly like India, so that is missing in these manifestos. So how do you see that aspect?
Faisal, I must say, actions are louder than words. If you just find time to see the manifesto which was given by PTI during its tenure, that was also very wonderfully crafted. But after getting into the power, they were claiming for a tsunami tree plan and etc., and there were some small steps were already taken in that direction. But when you after coming in power, when you change your whole direction towards doing some non-productive work and just to pushing or pulling your enemies or your allied, and you are taking yourself away from your objectives, this is very alarming. I do appreciate if People's Party has included few things in its manifesto, but there must be some sort of guarantee, there must be some sort of protection mechanism to honor their words after becoming or after coming in power. This is the way, this is the main issue in our whole system, that we do commend. We when we go to our, when we visit our voters, and when we are standing in front of voter, we are willing to do everything for them. But after becoming power, where are those promises? This has to be taken care. If you are committing for something, you must stand in front of, like the ma'am has given one of the parliamentarians reference. I must say, if she is very good at climate, she must come in front of the media and say and give his comprehensive or complete plan. Okay, this is what our government, if we came into power, if we come into power, we will do this thing. This has to be taken care. And if they took this lead, every single party has to follow it. This is how this whole mechanism will work.
So, Dr. Shoaib, when we are talking about Pakistan's water, per capita water availability, it's a very horrible situation which international research organizations and advocacy platforms, they are depicting. Pakistan is among 14 countries which are water stressed, and by 2025, Pakistan is going to be a water stressed nation. So, how do you see that aspect, whether we don't have to work on war footing regarding water availability in Pakistan?
Yes, this is a proven fact. So we'll have to develop a three-pronged strategy. One, on the government level. Second, on as a society as a whole, what we had, it's a very common thing that we used to save few things for us, we used to invest, or we used to save some amount of money for our future generation. Similarly, you will have to be very careful about this water. Now this has to be taken on our agenda number one. Like, if we have, unfortunately, if there are so many problems with which our country is going through, if we are talking about the terrorism, if we are talking about so many other factors which are faced by present contemporary Pakistan, I must say this water has to be put in at the top. Reason being, if this water is basically the main source of your life.
Dr. Shoaib, your point well taken. Thank you very much. Here we have Malik Mohammad Nasir. He is an agriculture expert. Most welcome to you, first of all, in the studios. Nasir sir, how do you see particularly the agriculture sector as the political campaigns are on for the next polls next month? So, right now, agriculture is under stress because of the climatic changes and water stress. So, how do you see the political parties giving weight to agriculture sector, which is the backbone of Pakistan's economy?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, indeed, every national political party is aiming for the coming election, much talk elections, and you very rightly said that agriculture is a backbone for our country. You know, 42% of the labor force is involved in the agriculture, and 98% share goes in the GDP. So, every political party having sense of this agriculture, they definitely need to focus, they need to prioritize their priorities while coming into the manifestos. I guess the number one priority, number one manifesto for any national party should be focusing on agriculture.
Whether our farmers are ready for the climate induced technologies or climate smart technologies like artificial intelligence or all that?
You know, farmers are well aware of the changes being coming into their way of the climate change. Yes, they know this. The second point is the artificial intelligence.
Or the climate smart technologies.
Or the climate smart technologies. Here we are lacking a bit. We need multi-pronged strategies in our national levels, vis-a-vis in our local farming community levels. We need to have budgeting on our human development. When I talk about the human development, I means investment in our farmers. You know, we keep on saying that we should invest in our agriculture sector, but I always am of the proponent of investing in our farmers. If we inject a lot of money in the agriculture sector, we devise the several policies. The wonderful policies should be devised in the agriculture. But if our farmer is not so much educated, how come he will adopt these technologies? How he will understand? You know, how he will understand these technologies? How he will implement? So my point is investment in the farmers, their capacity buildings, and the rural development strategies should come into our way when we are strategizing our agriculture policies, when we are talking about the investment in agriculture. So, the farmers should be the prioritized sector for us as an organization and for the political parties by large.
So, Nasir, your point well taken. Dr. Shoaib, when we are talking about Pakistan's water management overall and conservation, rainwater harvesting, improved irrigation system, water reservoirs, conservation, how do you see that political parties are geared up and they have the will to tackle this issue in future?
I don't know much about the future, how they'll take this issue on board, but previously they badly failed. You know, we are unable to have another reservoir, big reservoir, during the last 50 years. We have almost 5 to 6, one of the few leading agriculture universities in Pakistan. Sometime back in 1947, students, they came out and they make this country. You know, this country is because of the greatest effort of the students of Aligarh University. I must say, these students from agriculture universities, they come forward, they try to reach, they were being given some kind of such type of projects by their instructors, by their professors, which makes them able to reach out to the common man, common farmer, and let them know what are the strategies, what are the smart agriculture strategies, how they can conserve their water, how can they multiply their water's usage, how they can get 2 crops in one season. This has to be done by the students of these universities. I must say, if their professors are listening, or
thank you very much, Dr. Shoaib, for your time online. Thank you very much for your kind elaborations. Malik Nasir, when we are talking about agriculture sector, it is important that political parties must have to give true space to this important area. Do you think that they are giving space and the future of agriculture is bright?
Yes, you know, food security parallels with national security, and sometimes it surpasses. Let's take the example of the COVID-19. When we cope up with the COVID-19, I guess only reason was that we were food secure country. We weren't having the food insecurity at that time, and in our rural spectrum, the people had 3 times food in their homes. So that's why we cope up with this. Right, very right. So political parties, I won't say that they don't have will to focus on agriculture. Obviously, every national party want our agriculture to come up, but the question is the will and the way how they are going to tackle this. There is a debate.
So, they want it that agriculture sector must have to be revived. Along with that, some sort of a national seed policy is going to be revived as well, or bring forth. Along with that, one act, that is Agriculture Development Authority Act. So how do you see that aspect? Do you think this is the need of our?
Obviously, certainly there is a need of our any development, positive development in agriculture, we will welcome this. So I tell you one thing. Our 80% of the farmers are the small landholders, and 20% are those that they talk about the you know, big chunk of the land they have. They talk about the corporate farming, corporate agriculture. But the policies that are devised for the corporate farming, they are nothing to do with the 80% of our farmers that have less than 12.5 acres of their holdings. And the peoples having the 12 acres of the holdings, they need different kind of agricultures other than the corporate farmings. They won't afford the mechanized agriculture. Obviously, mechanized agriculture is a plus, but they don't have so much investment, they don't have so much capital to go for the laser leveling, to go for the precision agriculture, to go for the high efficiency irrigation system, which is the need of the time. So the policies which we devise, we should strategize our farmers, the sectors of the farmers, different you know, strata of the farmers are different in our country. So agriculture zoning is another point. If we zone our area agriculture, like say there is a Multan division that is famous for the mangoes, so that area should be focused for the mangoes, and the research universities, there is an agriculture university in Multan as well. There are 2 universities. Bahauddin Zakaria University also has a campus of the agriculture, and the Muhammad Nawaz Sharif University is dedicatedly agriculture university.
Definitely. Malik Nasir, your point well taken. You are talking absolutely right that there are lots of agriculture universities, academia, research centers and all that, but there is an issue about research and development funds. Do you think that scarcity of funds are actually impacting the research, and ultimately farmers are paying the price of it?
Obviously, we need to prioritize our budgeting. We are a poor country, we are a poor nation, we don't have so much funds to inject in different projects, but we need to prioritize our projects. If you know, research should be demand driven research. How it will come? If we have a linkages with the academia, with the farmers, with the processing industry and with the exporters. So anything that is a you know, everything is a demand driven. If there is a demand of some variety, some aspect of the agricultures, that should come through the farmers, through our exporters, then come to the processors, and then to the agriculture experts, going back to the farmers. If they are taking some points from the farmers, telling them that you should focus on such type of the agriculture. For that, if we need some projects, some budgeting, we should focus that specific area. Let's take the example of I was talking about the zoning. If we have a cotton zone, you know, our cotton is declining. Same is the case with our citrus, kinnu is also declining. The export, sometime it was a 300 billions market.
300 million dollars.
Now it's 100 millions. Why
yes,
it is coming to that? The only reason is we are not prioritizing our zoning areas. I will focus again on the zoning of the agriculture, keeping in mind of the agroclimatic
So
conditions.
where the problem arises actually?
The problem is of both sides. You know, if our government want our farmers to focus on specific area, the farmers will see only that where he is getting the maximum price. You know, I will tell you another example. If there is a
because the farmer is working in isolation.
Yeah, I will tell you the example of this. If the cotton Bahawalpur region is a cotton producing well known, Rahim Yar Khan region is a cotton producing well known cotton belt, but now sugarcane is overtaking this cotton production. Why? Because we have sugar mills there, and they are giving them a best of the prices as compared with the cotton. And the why cotton is declining? Because the varieties are not such comings, the processing units.
So what about underperforming seed, pesticides, insecticides, along with that the fertilizer companies? Do you not think they must have to be delisted, because they are ultimately putting the burden on farmer? The seed is not good, and when the seed is not there, that how it is going to be a good crop. So BT cotton is not yet examined and implemented over here in Pakistan. So how do you see that why not a robust thinking about agriculture, particularly the cash and staple crops?
Unfortunately, some sectors are politicized in agriculture. The same is with the seed sector. You know, we talk about the hybrid seed. If we take the example of the maize, there is a hybrid seed. 88% of the maize is sown on the hybrid seed, and there is a humongous production of the maize. Why it is production? Because there is a consumption in the poultry side, and poultry business is also going up. You know, only business that we say that is a viable in agriculture now is a poultry sector. The 1 kg of the chickens were now 1 chicken 4 to 5 kg chicken. We are easily producing this. Why? Because we are focusing on our chicken industry, and vis-a-vis with the raw material demanding for the soybean demand is on high. The same is case with the maize hybrid seed, and maize hybrid seed is production. So I means if there is any unit of the agriculture that is producing and that sees the farmers that it is giving them the income, they will definitely come, and agriculture is market driven. So let's remove all the checks on the agricultures. Let flourish the agricultures on their way. The agriculture will pay at the end, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Malik Muhammad Nasir. Thank you very much for your time, being in studios, well elaborated. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, that no doubt that climatic changes and water scarcity is impacting our agriculture, but we must have to consider agriculture, and even it is a backbone to Pakistan's economy. 60% of the exports are because of the agriculture. So it is high time that the political parties must have to pay heed on agriculture. Whosoever would be the government, they must have to consider that there should be the policy interventions must have to be implemented at the ground level. Farmers must have to be taken on board, and there must be zoning of for different products, for different cash crops and the staple crops, so that Pakistan get the real-time success in agriculture. Climate smart agriculture is required. New technologies must have to be introduced, along with the IT sector, the artificial intelligence. All other tools must have to be implemented in agriculture if we want more productivity, more yield out of it. Then resultantly there would be more exports, and obviously when we have more exports, economy will flourish, and Pakistan will attain its development. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz Nasir.